Yemo bibi akwa ba de ba smart Ghana update so we news update foforo kra na de ba beso mo. Abusua endorsement kese pa any free lawyer Samson Lardy Anyenini a odi ni dwuma wo joy. Ne nyina ne se okoko piem wo alankojo chematen ne encounter with the media na se. Ne duru se omumusa questions no ade se odi nsem betudwa ansa na wobusa no question a je no chiri mu a wakenkan book na alankojo chematen GTP no odi aba ne pa na ya de se ono I go through plan na alankojo chematen e de ato no wo hu se oman Ghana se me ani ko ho ne etu ye ni so si ye hweso ne ato aba ama alankojo chematen a oba bebo oman Ghana pa enu nti e no no ogina osisi ayi waye na adwen se December 7th 2024 so okọ no okọ akoto aba oto e de ama alankojo chematen esan se o a true believer of great transformational plan na odi aba no ono atena ase asese abusua obusa question bi a mepese ebeko ne akwakwoti na nipa abusua otoso mienu a ono so ekowi ase na obo ne nsem prow edema alankojo chematen e won encounter with the media no Countryman Songo obi anim se fire for fire na abusua ono de na ne interest about sports a je se ochirema je se ye hwe ye man Ghana mu a enyoma nkoyi kura efa sports abusua ala nya abotirecheche ni mu wie no owie obo ne nsem emenam so kura emoyeye ne sports minister ewo dwumadie na se abusua yenti emra.
My name is Samson Lardy. I host News File. The first time I read the Great Transformational Plan, my summary of it was that it was the coalescing of the things that Ghanaians have demanded for a very long time, including the promises of transforming the constitution, the various parts. So this document for me represents listening to the people. My question revolves around your promise to amend Article 78. You will need sufficient numbers in Parliament in case you won. First, to be able to engineer it, and subsequently for the purposes of a referendum. How are you going to be successful with that? Because that is going to be a major challenge for a group like yours. You can't appoint your ministers, but the majority from Parliament. That dovetails into a part of the question here. How many MPs, candidates, are you nurturing around so that if you got sufficient votes, you will get sufficient members of Parliament to help you in the final event? I'm a believer of a third force, and I believe that your movement can take us there. I have voted for Dr. Pakwesi Indum and voted for Zenato Rawlings. I have voted for Bridget Jugbonuku and voted for Esla Owusu-Ekofo. I stand for the Ghanaian who believes that we need to encourage people like you to change the narrative.
Frankly, but for the fact that Samson believes in the new government, I wouldn't have let him ask two questions.
Patrick Osayajman, Countryman Songo, host of Fire for Fire, Adom TV, Fireman. Okay, Exodus, movement of Jah people. Started here. It's about Exodus. Okay, all right. Me want for sports. Just ended Olympics. Medal back Ukrama. You got it. Your football. Ningina a kofum. Yes, sports and kase a Kofi. Okay. Send me show book more. What I can see, infrastructure, how well you be see I make us inter-schools and I say grassroots and development. Fantastic. In all this, say sports no. Yes, sports the a Kofi. A good pa. A Kofi pa. Because when I'm a kind of Olympics here, medal back grandma. Athletics come from gra. Football, blasters, your ball, 3 matches are film. Grassroots 17 intimate qualify as we are World Cup. 20 intimate qualify as we are World Cup. 23 under 23 say Olympic Games 20 years now. A member of football and qualify. What do I say? Barcelona 92, Spain, bronze. You see, it's me question in here. The development of sports is heavily dependent on the personal chosen to head the ministry. Nipa obi di ministry nanim obra obri nyina ye yo president nipa obi yi na obi di sports ministry nanim no eno any the main problem. More fire. So now what kind of person are you looking up? So obey to me, yeah. I understand. I will help the sports ministry. Don't worry, in a professional way. I'm the fireman. I need to also be holding my fire. No, you understand? My building, my brand in yepa. To also be holding fire for fire and more yepa. I'm the fireman. I will always keep them on their toes in a professional way. But when your personality will beat me, your sports and then a changing normal. And your sports will beat me up. And sports, no, it beat me up the youth and the Ghana here. Because I know Ghana is all about sports and politics. More fire.
Samson Lardy, you don't want tree, I know. But I'm beginning to make appointments. Samson is putting a foot in there. Yes, all inclusive. I know he's an independently minded person. Whatever he has to tell you, he has to tell you. So that's the kind of people you need in a government of national unity, which is the anchor of the movement for change, the government of national unity. So Samson, be ready. Anyway, so now he is talking about the fact that when we indicate in the GTP, particularly on, is it page 78? Article 78, on appointment of ministers. He wants to know, because this is a constitutional provision which is entrenched. So if you want to change it, it requires you going through a very extensive, including a referendum. Now, what GTP is saying is that, number one, it will be the subject of this constitutional reform. The constitutional reform will make sure that we remove that limitation of the president that requires him to appoint half of his cabinet from parliament. Of what purpose is it? That particular provision in our laws even reduces the substance of our checks and balances as a country. Because if half of your ministers are in parliament, then can Parliament be truly an oversight body? No. It can't. You don't even have the time to do two things. Serving as a member of the executive and also doing your work as all these things, we are aware of them. Why is it that we have allowed it to persist? But obviously, you have to come into power before you have the capacity to undertake the reforms. So what is going to happen? All that this GTP is saying is that, yes, we will abide by the Constitution until it is changed. But it only means that the ministers will be appointed, half of the ministers will be appointed from those in Parliament. From those who are independent candidates, he made a very important inquiry as to whether we are interested in promoting some independent candidates. Yes, we are. And we are targeting about 30 members of Parliament. 30 members of Parliament. Now, and I know that there are parliamentarians, existing parliamentarians, and new ones to come in both the NDC and NPP, who are just waiting for Alan to become president, and then they will be more than willing to join the government, because it's the government of national unity. At that point, yes, you are there on the ticket of the NPP or the NDC. But now, because of your own record and of your own capacity, you will serve in a government of national unity. What a joy! What a joy that you are singled out now to become a member of the government of national unity, although you went to Parliament. So it will come from the independents, it will come from party parliamentarians who are selected not on the basis of the parties, but on the basis of their own merit. So that's how it's going to be. And people are making a big fuss out of this. Ghana, in Ghana, that a president invites you as a member of Parliament to serve in his government, you will leave the party and then come and join the government. There are many people in Parliament, they are there because it will enable them and elevate them, hopefully, to become members of the executive. So I'm even making things easy. You will see what is going to happen in this country. A government of national unity. Half of them would even be more than willing, because there you are serving Ghana, not your parties. That is the way we'll do. Then the last one is Mr. Fireman. I wanted to, and I'm in Kanusutri fire. Yes, the minister, so, but I think it's very important. What the GTP is saying is that government has the wrong approach, has the wrong business model with sports. If government thinks that they can use government budget to develop sports, it ain't gonna happen. That is why if you read through the sports section, it's all about government empowering the private sector to establish sports academies and sports infrastructure and facilities of the highest standard. If a private person is investing, he will make sure that he does it very well, and he will maintain them. And he knows that he's also going to benefit from them. If you don't have world-class infrastructure in sports, you can't develop world-class sportsmen. I think it goes without saying. It's because if you don't have the right infrastructure, it requires the power from the Almighty God and His grace to be able to pull somebody through Olympics. But if you have the right facilities, even average performing talent can excel because of the... Recently, when we built this swimming facility, you can see that gradually we are now in a position to nurse talents. So, Fireman, it is all about government supporting the private sector to invest in world-class sports facilities. This whole notion of government wanting to do everything when you don't have the money, it amazes me. That is why we are talking about an enterprise economy. An enterprise economy is an economy driven by the private sector and by businesses. It's the economy that will create jobs and put money into people's pockets. That is what an enterprise economy is. Get the private sector to be at the center of development. They know where to find the money. Even with sports, you'll be amazed. If Adom becomes president with this policy on sports, you see what will happen. It's the same thing I did with the automobile industry. When I started talking about Ghana producing cars, people thought that this was too utopian. But just with the policy, with just my mind, pen, somebody mentioned pencil, pen and paper. We have been able to attract within 1.5 years. We didn't borrow. We've been able to attract 5 out of the 6 top global companies that are manufacturing cars in the world. Volkswagen, Toyota, Nissan, Hyundai, Kia. It's never happened anywhere in the world. A developing country where you have 5 out of the 6 leading automobile companies competing, not just with one brand. Volkswagen has about 5 brands. Kia has about 5 or 4. Hyundai is the same thing. So this has become the real battleground for vehicles. And the beauty of this is that the assembly is only a small part of it. The real deal is in the manufacturing of components and spare parts. And that is going to also start under Ananche Martin presidency. So the next round.